Well, brides around the world hope to look beautiful on their special day, and that's completely natural. But beauty rituals come and go, and with the passage of time, different styles of bridal wear come into fashion. Today in our special Sunday report, we look back at two very different bridal customs of yesteryear. One is face threading, a method brides use to ensure a radiant complexion. The other is the making and wearing of exquisite thread-wrapped flowers that convey joy. These distinct folk traditions are no longer in vogue, but they do live on today in different forms.
In his free time after work, 40-year-old Lin Chun-lin heads to the pool hall to practice his skills. He is a diehard billiards fan, and at his last job, he was assistant manager of a pool hall. He loved the job, but it didn't last. Due to a decline in the billiards industry, Lin was left at 30 years old with no choice but to find a new profession.
开始的汗毛正常都用粗线先拔一下，比较不会太痛。最后再用那个细线。
Your eyes do not deceive you. Upon leaving the billiard scene that year, Lin fell headfirst into the beauty industry.
这些汗毛都不在的话，脸会比较白。
One end of the thread is held in his mouth. The other end is formed into the shape of scissors by his two hands. The strings are tightened and loosened with quick and nimble movements. On the client's face, the string rhythmically opens and closes in a flicking motion.
Physical act of face threading can pull hairs out of the skin. When you remove fine hairs from the body, the skin will temporarily appear to be smoother and wider.
The bar is low for aspiring face threaders. The materials are easily acquired, so many women use the skill to supplement their household income. Sixty-year-old Xu Meilan is one of those women. Together with her nearly 90-year-old mother, Xu Zhumei, she set up a tent under a bridge in Taipei's Shilin district. They've been plying their trade there for 21 years. At the site, 7 or 8 tents are arranged in a row. When business is good, the sight of all the face threaders at work is a spectacle.
For the most part, face threaders are middle-aged people who had lost their jobs. The working hours are long and you must be outside every day.
But face threading is harder than it looks. Skillfully working an entire face takes half an hour on average. It's especially tricky under the eyes, where the skin is fine and the bones curved. To control their strength, face threaders must keep their elbows and shoulders stretched taut. Doing this for many years usually leads to shoulder and back pain, among other conditions.
At the start, it was a bit difficult. I didn't earn very much and it was exhausting. This work pays on a per-client basis. When you do more, your income goes up.
Today, this traditional beauty technique must contend with modern skincare products and medical treatment. But even though the competition is stiff, face threading retains a loyal following.
Technology is always advancing. This is a reality. But after 20, 30 years, the question I asked myself was, why hasn't it become obsolete? It must have its merits.
In Taiwan, face threading first grew popular in rural towns and villages. There's a saying that face threading brings good luck. Just before getting married, many women would pamper themselves with a threading session. And for brides in the olden days, another wedding tradition was wearing a twine flower ornament.
Red represents joy. The flower evokes joyfulness. It's not vulgar at all. When it is worn, it creates an air of elegance. It is very delicate.
On the day of the wedding, the bride, her mother, mother-in-law, and female relatives would all adorn themselves with a spring flower. The shape and size of the flower would differ based on the status of the wearer, but all of them connoted joy.
有没有4条4股？那我们要再把它抽。
Thread as fine as a strand of hair is wrapped around a sliver of paper to create these colorful ornaments. Twined flowers are made entirely by hand. Tight wrapping gives the paper a look and feel that resembles embroidery.
好，这个是6连片的，弄好，我们这个放这里，放一个你就绑一个，开，所以一朵花就出来了。
More than 20 years ago, Chen Huimei was a leather worker. Through a chance opportunity, Chen met the artist Xie Chen Aiyu, who was 90 at the time. Chen was drawn to Xie Chen's twined flowers and asked for lessons in the craft.
当你在做的时候，你不晓得时间过得那么快。
You're working on twined flowers, you don't notice the time pass. There's a type of happiness, and you just enjoy the moment.
Chen took her earnings from leather crafting and invested all of it into mastering the art of twined flowers. After her efforts began to yield results, Chen started her own flower workshop. It was a difficult business as she encountered competition from low-cost, mass-produced spring flowers.
你捌聽人講藝術家困土骹無？
You may have heard people say that artists sleep on the floor. That's the practical reality of it. But look at it from another level and the view is different. Your work becomes about taking this important art, this traditional culture, and preserving it for posterity.
Using her leatherworking income, she built a business on spring flowers. To keep that business going, she had to pave new paths forward. She scaled up her flower ornaments, transforming them into opulent art installations. She's also adapted the craft to make fine jewelry so that twined flowers could shine on a new stage. Her art has been recognized as one of Taiwan's intangible cultural assets. In 2017, President Tsai Ing-wen went on a state visit to Central and South America. She brought along Chen's spring flowers and presented them to the first ladies of Taiwan's official allies. These flowers are purely ornamental, but they make fitting state gifts as they reflect the exquisite beauty of Taiwanese culture.
生活文化是代表一个国家。
It's a sort of everyday art. That's what best represents a country. I feel it is a country style. Take this everyday art and show it to people overseas and they'll think, wow, this country is so refined.
最基本型，半纯变纯型。
To keep the tradition going, established artists have to train new ones. Audiences have to not only appreciate the art, but be moved to make it themselves. In March 2020, Chen and a group of rising embroidery artists represented Taiwan and Munich, Germany, at an international exhibition. They were among highly skilled artists from 30 countries who joined the prestigious event.
这是一个全世界最大的工艺展，今年要去。
This is the world's largest arts and crafts exhibition. This year, booths are assigned by country. The significance of that is great. Shining bright on the international stage can encourage more youth to fall in love with this craft. It's not easy being an artisan.
它是一丝一丝，你要嫁女儿的时候，一丝一丝把它捞出来。
One thread at a time. When your daughter is getting married, you wrap the thread so carefully, one loop at a time. That's the love of a mother born out on thread. This art reflects the love that Taiwanese have for the next generation.
Every season brings with it a new collection of bridal fashion. But for these artisans, nothing can mean as much as the little red flower, the labor of love that's a gift from Taiwan's past.